The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Let's listen as Lorraine LaPointe, coach, therapist, educator, speaker, and founder of Head Heart Synergy, brings together another enlightened guest to inspire and motivate us to move forward, achieve our dreams and desires, so that we experience midlife awakening.
And I'm your host, Lorraine LaPointe. Today we'll enjoy another candid conversation that reveals how to bring back a sense of balance and how to find forward focus. Today, take just a few moments to join us as we explore the possibilities and the perspectives that provide us with greater inner peace, power, passion, and purpose. Because that's what I call living at the edge of fulfillment in a midlife awakening.
Well, hello and welcome. I'm wondering, have you ever experienced, that comment of trial by fire? Well, generally that idiom refers to, good morning, Erica, how are you? That idiom refers to a situation where, you're under extreme pressure or stress and your ability to perform is kind of tested. But for our guests today, it has an alternative meaning because as a former lawyer, she can truly claim that she's had that literal experience. Good morning, Dana Lynn. Typically, some people experience more fire in their lives than others. And although fire can show up like a pretty flickering candle flame, or it can show up as a raging drama filled like an inferno, it's all about how much fuel is fanning that fire. And today, instead of living so that your flame barely flickers, my guest and I are going to help you shine brightly. And one of the best ways to shine is knowing that you're doing something important, something that lights you up and puts a smile on your face. And this is going to put a smile on my face. I can't talk again this morning. This is going to put a smile on my face and hopefully yours, because here's a new and easy way to do just that. Every time we get a live comment from someone or someone downloads a podcast recording, good morning, Sherry, of the Edge of Fulfillment show, my company, Head Heart Synergy, is given an opportunity through b1g1.com to donate and create a better life for someone. And this month, each person who comments or downloads will provide a whole day of access to clean water wherever it's needed most in the world. So this means when you comment or you ask a question and just use the hashtag and the word question, or you listen to our podcast in recording, and hello to those who are listening in the replay, you also help somebody in the world to live better. And I want to thank you for that and for helping me to help others. And by the way, for those who haven't met me yet, I'm Lorraine LaPointe. I'm the host of Edge of Fulfillment. And it's my mission to help compassionate, service-minded women to, clear away that inner clutter and dial down those negative inner critics to discover the missing element or the missing focus in life, to boost your confidence, empower, and inspire. And as my gift to you at the end of the show, I'll post a link to a quiz so that you can tell what the number one focus is that would improve your life satisfaction score. So please listen or watch for that link at the end of the show. And it's a great day to share your insights into what's needed to create the alignment between your head, your head and your heart, because there's something great that begins to happen as our head and our heart align. We light up, we slow down, we smile more brightly. And my awesome guest today is Lexlee Overton. And we're going to talk in a few minutes about how you can ignite your life for greatness, because she asked the question, are you feeling like lit for life right now? It's a good question. But before I introduce her, let me congratulate Sherry Bergman. Sherry is the winner of an enriched card and bone reading, plus a Pay It Forward gift certificate, which will save 50% for a friend. And that is sponsored by last week's guest, Erica Prentovich of Red Witch Studios. And Erica does the most amazing readings. So I know that last week, Sherry, you took note of the 5 special words that you heard sprinkled throughout the show, and you added them into the comments at the end. So that did 2 things. Number 1, it provided fresh water for someone somewhere in the world. And it won you this amazing prize with a reading from Erica. Congratulations, Sherry. So now, dear listeners and watchers, is it your turn? If it is, simply keep track of the words. And at the end of the show, I'll be asking you to put all 5 words in a comment or an email to be eligible for the prize. And this week's guest will be sending you a Lit for Life journal, and she'll be telling us more about that. Okay, so now I'm eager to introduce you to our guest this week because she does inspire others to ignite your life for greatness. Oh, and there's the first of the special words for today, and that is the word greatness. So just jot that one down. And before I bring her onto the platform, give yourself a little time to jot that down and invite your family and friends to join us and take a little break this morning. So stay tuned with us as you're listening to The Edge of Fulfillment on W4WN, which is the Women4 Women Network radio, and Talk for TV. And we'll be right back with Lexlee.
Did you know video is the future on content? There are 3 good reasons why video is the future of content. Number 1, videos are often more engaging than simple pictures or music alone. Number 2, it's much easier to tell your story through video. Number 3, because we love to watch video, they go viral much faster. Hey, notice you're still watching right now. See how well it works. Next time we can play your video here instead. Ask me how. Shine online on Talk 4 TV and W4WN radio.
Hey, are you looking for a brighter future? Wishing for greater calm, clarity, and confidence? What if you knew an inside job was the answer? Your mission: stop the inner burn, gain mental fitness so you get more out of life. Imagine in about 15 minutes a day for just 6 weeks. Come on, we'll show you how. Don't miss it. Just go to www.lorraine.gives/M-Fitness and join us right now.
Hey, welcome back. Yes, that's amazing, Sherry, and you're welcome, Erica. I'm so glad that the 2 of you will connect again. And let's do a quick recap for those who are just joining us. We're running a contest this week for a Lit for Life journal, which is sponsored by our guest, Lexlee Overton. And we've already heard one of the 5 special words that you'll need to put in the comments at the end to be eligible for that draw. And the first word that you heard was the word greatness. So listen for the other 4 words, and we'll continue on the Edge of Fulfillment here on the Women4 Women Network radio and Talk for TV. And I want to welcome today's amazing guest because Lexlee Overton helps stressed out lawyers and their teams and other women to unlock their true potential and help them find peace and purpose and prosperity. And her clients love feeling like they're powerful performers as they finally get to feel happy and confident and alive in both their legal practice, if they're lawyers, and in regular life. And her message is to remind you that you're beautiful and you're magical and how the world needs your light. And she runs Lit for Life Sisterhood Facebook group. because she believes we're both adventurous and persistent heroines. We live intentionally and purposefully with the mission. Oh, and there's our second word. So now you've heard two. Greatness and mission, with the mission of being in love with life and creating a change in the world. So I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm just going to say I'm really stoked for you to meet Lexlee. Hi, Lexlee.
Hi.
Thanks for being here today. It's so good to have you on the show.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, we've heard a little bit about your business focus, and I'm sure that was just the tip of the iceberg intro, and why you love helping women get lit for life. But I'm sure our listeners would like to know more about the story that's behind your success. Yeah, because I know life hasn't always flowed easily, right?
Well, life happens the way it's supposed to. It's whether or not what you do with that, right?
Awesome.
So you and I talked about this. There's lots of parts of the story, but probably the thing that really ignited me on the path that I am right now. I was 40 years old, pregnant with my youngest, and running a law practice that I loved. Had an incredible team around me, had just had the best year in my career financially. So it had been, it was a good place to be in life. And I was the key pivotal moment that stays in my head. I was 7 months pregnant when I discovered that my paralegal, who was actually like a sister to me, she had worked with me for 10 years. When I say like a sister, like I would have done anything for her, right? And I discovered an elaborate embezzlement scheme that she had been funneling money from the practice for about 3 years, and total shock. Like when I was looking through her desk for something, I came across a bank statement that when I was looking at the bank statement, my brain could not comprehend what I was seeing because it was totally opposite of what it should have been. And like, literally, I just, like, there was a total disconnect. And from there, it was like a fog of that day of what happened. So fast forward a little bit. So 7 months pregnant, it put me in the hospital within a week. I had preeclampsia, so that just set that situation on fire. He was born like 6 weeks early, so that was a little of a moment, but he was amazing. I went back to work when he was 3 weeks old because I was afraid my business was going to close. Like, I didn't know what was what. It was such an elaborate scheme. Like, I didn't know. Everything was upside down. Nothing was what I had believed it to be. So really a moment of like into the space of like, what am I doing and what am I going to do? Before this, I was already on what I would say is a spiritual path. As a young lawyer, young trial lawyer, I did a lot of litigation work. I found myself really overwhelmed and stressed out. So that had set me on a path years before, doing meditation and things like that. So I had those tools, but still just something that you never expect, that is an explosive situation that changes everything. Put an incredible strain on my marriage, and we ended up being divorced, which was probably, it just heightened things that we weren't seeing. So I continued to practice. I kept the doors open. I did what most people probably couldn't have, worked like crazy to do it and to find myself. It was like gathering little pieces, like trying to find what had happened and recover it, all of it. And at the same time, all of this with me was the same way, like these little pieces that all of a sudden I didn't, like I had to start to find who I really was, is really made the question that happened, that I had to ask and to answer, because I was in I could go back in and I could be successful at this, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. I had the opportunity, as I started to really try to find a way to come back together, of like asking what I was doing with my life. And you know what I'm talking about, Lorraine. Like,
I do.
This place of like really tuning in to what mission is, right? And mission is one of our words that I just said.
Yeah. Wow.
One of our 5 words.
Your story is so heart-wrenching. I mean, to be pregnant, to find out you've been
Yes.
betrayed by someone who you consider to be a sister.
Yes.
And to be struggling, with a partnership in terms of marriage that wasn't working out as well. Oh my goodness. So I'm curious. I mean, did you have to report yourself to the bar?
Oh yeah. There are mandatory rules when you're unsure of whether or not something is involved, like client funds, because I had no idea. This was an elaborate scheme. So I did, and that was before my son was born. So in that 2-month period where I was in and out of the hospital, or that month and that period or so, I had to report, because you have an obligation if for some reason that it would affect clients, which it didn't, but I didn't know. So then I was going through an investigation by my state bar association, so then I'm looking at the possibility of losing my license, right? not just the fact of like losing, everything I'd already lost, but then losing the ability of what I was thinking is a way to of everything that I had ever known and ever worked for. So luckily it did involve client funds, but to still have to go through that process was it was humiliating too. It was just an embarrassment. And really, something that, I can look at it now and see that I was way stronger than I ever knew I was. That's what I tell people. I had no idea the amount of strength that I had to come through that situation.
Trial by fire.
There you go. Definitely a trial by fire. Much worse than any trial in a courtroom that I've ever been in. That's for sure. But at the same time, I can see it and know and see the gift in it, because if that hadn't happened, I probably would have stayed in the same place for a long time. Because it's not that I wasn't unhappy being a lawyer and running a law firm, but there was something that was calling me that I wasn't really listening to, because life was so busy, right? And when this happened, life was crazy busy, but it also, there was no figuring out who I was, right? I had to find that. And so it set me on a path. I continued to practice law, but I was a seeker. I started studying all kinds of things. I spent a couple of years studying, Peruvian-based, shamanism and medicine, Eastern medicine, which was fascinating to me and really set me onto why am I here and what am I connected to and what is my bigger purpose, my bigger mission than what I thought.
A true midlife awakening.
True midlife awakening.
That's why I called the show Midlife Awakening, at the edge of fulfillment. Like, your story is just resonating so strongly with me. Please go on.
Yes. So it just naturally happened that as I started to do that work, I had always been a teacher in different national trial lawyer programs. And I remember the day that one of my shaman mentors said to me, "You're going to bring this work into the legal field." I was like, that's crazy. So we're talking about energy. If we use those kind of words, it was way more woo-woo, it seems like 7 or 8 years ago than it is right now, because we do talk. I hear lawyers talk all the time about the energy of stories, which is true. Like, we're talking about this story. You're like, this story is it has so much energy in it, right? And that's what we want when we're connecting with people, whether it's in the courtroom or you and I connecting right now, or connecting to everyone that's listening. So I thought it was crazy because I didn't see that connection at the time when she said that. But literally within 2 days, a lawyer reached out to me who I did not know, who said, I've really been struggling, and somebody said I should reach out to you because you had done some coaching at some point. And I had, but not in a formal thing. Like, someone just needed some help. And so that's what started it. I was like, I'm willing to do some coaching work with you, but I want to do some things that you're going to think are outside the box. I want to talk about what your energy is and how you've been imprinted by the stories in your life, and how that affects your beliefs and how we act and what we choose to do or not do. And she's like, I don't really care. I just need some help.
Isn't that a really important thing for those women who are starting business? They don't care how you do it.
Right. Exactly.
As long as you get results and
right.
alleviate the pain they're in.
Exactly. So I started with that person, and I was using sort of what we consider like traditional coaching, but I was using energy practices and teaching different types of practices, turning things that I could do with someone in an energy, quote unquote energy session, but turning it into practices they could do for themselves that would help to them, empower them. And it just grew. Like it organically just unfolded. And the only reason I can say that happened is because I was in a place of total surrender. Wasn't in a place of controlling. I mean, like, I didn't have anything after this point. There was nothing else to do but surrender and say, I'm willing to go wherever the path leads. I'm going to follow where the heart is. When you talk about the head-heart connection, I was a trained trial lawyer. Everything is about the head and analyzing. So learning to get out of that and learning to live life from this space, that is what really is what I teach now when we're talking about, igniting a life you love or being lit on life, those kind of things. When I'm working with lawyers, they're usually coming to see me, and this applies, it doesn't matter if you're a lawyer or not, it applies to everyone. But for that profession, they usually get locked into me because they're in a place of overwhelm and burnout and need resiliency, because it's hard work. And it's adversarial. So it's a lot of chaotic energy to manage, and you're always on, and can be very exhausting. So they usually come in that place of like, I need help. How do I restore myself? And that's really, if I talk in the terms that I like to talk in, it's restoring your energy. How do I, right? Yeah.
Well, and you've raised so many points here that, I think that's why legal shows are so popular on TV, because there is so much conflict.
Yes.
The very definition of a legal or a lawsuit is two conflicting sides or positions.
Right. Two conflicting stories.
And two conflicting stories, two conflicting beliefs,
right.
To live in that state always of being in the middle, of trying to not just mediate between the parties, but you're trying as a lawyer to win.
You are, which means that every case is like a battle, right? If I have a client that I'm representing, I am in battle for that person. I am the advocate for that person. I am the advocate for their story. And so it's always being triggered into fight or flight. Right. which I tell lawyers, so a lot of your inner world, like the way that manifests in modern day, we're not in a jungle. So you're not hopefully going to run out of the courtroom or hit your opponent. Right. So it manifests in, like, for a lot of lawyers, it manifests in anger. Like, it comes out like they don't know what to do with it. Right. Because it's energy, right. Very strong. Or it manifests in just always being in that triggered state, which is always draining our energy. We are never off. And eventually that is going to catch up with you mentally, emotionally, and physically. There's no way it won't.
Yeah. Well, and that's why so many lawyers are in burnout.
Yes.
Managing, as you said, managing that energy is tough.
Yes.
It's tough. And I think you mentioned one of the words that is one of our special words, and that is having vision. So one of the
mentioned mission too, which was one of the words.
Yeah, but with mission goes vision, right? So can we talk a little bit about vision and what that means, or what effect that has in what you do now?
Yeah. So when I talk about it's mission and vision go together, and those are two of the words, right, that we have for today for your audience.
In case mission, write that one down.
Yes.
Number 3.
Yeah. So mission comes in this space where we start to tune in and really know what we're here for. And I have a lot of, non-lawyers that come to me too, obviously, that it's like, I feel like in women, when you're talking about this midlife point, like, am I doing what I'm doing what I'm here to do? And am I on purpose? That's a question. Mine just came in like a roaring hurricane, right? But for a lot of people, it's just there. They hear it and they're not really sure what to do with it. So mission is a personal mission. We know businesses have business missions. We should all have a personal mission. You gave yours in the beginning. You gave part of mine, and it's really looking at purposely and intentionally how you're spending your life. And it begins based upon core values.
Yeah, say some more about
Yeah.
values, because actually we're just going to slide the word right out. That's number 4,
Yes.
values.
Yes. And values, like, I need to think about them as like the beliefs that describe your soul. They are it's the ways that you want to be in the world, the way you want to live. And so really spending some time thinking about that and finding your definition of your value words. I call them value statements. So like 3 of mine, I have them up here on my wall here. 3 of my core values. One is teaching, but the opposite of that is learning. So they have a flip side. So teaching and learning, I'm always seeking to learn more. And then what I learn, I teach. One of them is community, and it would be different than what it's actually the core value is connection, and community is a part of it. So connection speaks to my value word. My definition of connection might not be what you're normally thinking of the definition of connection. I know it that it's defined as a really intentionally knowing how my energy affects the world around me and the people in my world. And part of that connection value, really strong for me right now, is building communities. And I do that in different ways in my work. You talked about the Lit on Life Sisterhood is a place where women can be, where we're just empowering each other. But I have communities in my legal work. I run masterminds, which are communities. It's really a strong calling for me as a part of that connection word. And then one of mine is beauty. And the definition of beauty is not like, well, what does that mean? For me, the definition, my value statement around beauty is I want to see the beauty in it all. So I can look at that embezzlement story and I can still see the beauty and the strength. I can see the beauty and the opportunity. I didn't see it at the time. I remember a friend telling me, I just can't wait until it's a year from now for you. Like, it was so horrible. And I was like, oh my God, it just seems like, I don't know, a year seems a long time away, but I can see it now, right? So really like asking yourself, and there's different exercises that you can do, and they're in the Lit on Life journal that we're going to be giving away. And journal is one of the words, right?
Yep. So they've had 5. So go ahead. So go ahead, listeners and viewers. Go ahead and put the 5 words in the chat. We usually do it at the end of the show, but why not do it now? So mission and greatness and values and vision and journal.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Absolutely beautiful.
And so in there are some exercises in the beginning of that journal that lead you through identifying what your core values are and what the value statements are, identifying your personal mission, and then it comes in vision. So vision is about goals that are really mission driven. So the whole journal brings you back to those core values and to your mission statement and says, if you're going to make goals for this month, ask yourself, every goal, is it in alignment with one of your core values? And if it's not, why is it a goal? Like, why are you doing that? Because we don't have to keep doing things just because they're expected of us, just because we've taken on this role.
Yeah. And I think that feeling of frustration, that feeling of being out of alignment, being uncomfortable, is there to do exactly as you said, is to have you question your question your vision, question your mission, and see whether you are aligned with your purpose in your life. And I would love to hear from our listeners and our watchers, how aligned are you feeling right now? Are you willing to step in and go, yeah, I'm feeling okay, or today I'm slightly out of alignment. There's some personal things going on in my life, and I'm realigning. So we're just going to take a quick little break, and we'll be right back with Lexlee Overton. And you're here on the Edge of Fulfillment in the Midlife Awakening. We'll be right back.
Mental fitness, the missing X factor for enhancing performance, achievement, and success. Mental fitness empowers you with the magic of 3: stabilized mood, peace of mind, deeper relationships. Time to make it happen? Grow the self-command muscle. Intercept your self-defenses. Build your inner wisdom. In less than 15 minutes a day, gain the missing X factor. Let me show you how.
There comes a time we wonder, what's next? For women like us, as we stand at the edge of fulfillment, are you feeling unsettled, restless, not quite right? That's midlife awakening. Are you looking for fulfillment? Or to squeeze more juice out of life? Midlife awakening at the edge of fulfillment, don't miss it. We understand. By phone or laptop, wherever you are, come join us. Friday 10 a.m. Eastern Time, on Head Heart Synergy Facebook business page, or here, on the Women4 Women Network Radio and Talk 4 TV.
And welcome back. We're chatting with Lexlee Overton, and she is sharing with us all about her journey. And thank you for being so open, Dana Lynn. Yes, we can all use help at different times in our lives. And so, Lexlee, I've got to ask this question. What's the best mistake you think you've ever made?
That's a hard question. Let's see. The best mistake. Maybe the best mistake I ever made was trusting that person. Yeah. And I couldn't have said that probably 5 years ago, but that experience drove me in a way, opened me up in a way, allowed for me to surrender in a way that I didn't even know existed. Yeah.
Betrayal has a way of doing that, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Betrayal is different from any other emotion because, we have grief, we have sadness, we have anger, we have all of those. But betrayal, when it happens, it devastates us. It pulls the roots right out of who we think we are.
Yes.
And then makes us question who we're being.
Right. And it makes what I really learned wasn't so much, there was never like a roaring anger at her, because I actually cared about this person, right? I really loved her. When I say she was like a sister to me. So there was a part of me that instantly knew there had to be something going on, and it was discovered she had a terrible gambling addiction. And I can understand the suffering through that, because she is a good person. She's a good heart, right? I knew there had to be something because it was so opposite of what I knew. So what was harder than the betrayal by her was then beginning to doubt myself. Like, I didn't trust myself because I didn't see it. So that was a big lesson for me to realize that I was going through really doubting myself, if I could believe in myself and believe in my intuition and who I was trusting and what I was doing. Is everything, I woke up in the morning, and by 10 o'clock that morning when I discovered this, everything in my life was flipped upside down. So then it was like, nothing is as it seemed. And can I even trust myself? So it put me in a place of really having to learn that, to discover that in a way that I don't know if I'm even describing it correctly.
Oh, I would just say that if this is resonating for what's resonating strongly for me, betrayal is what I just often describe as the learning cycle of my life.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's resonating strongly, and that's why I work with women who often that the root of the problem is that they've been betrayed, and
Right.
and betrayal has five stages that you have. Well, you don't have to, but that you go through, similar to grief, in
Yes.
order to heal, and it. Without going through all five stages, sometimes we get stuck.
Right.
And then we attract more of it.
Right. Or we continue to live in a place where we're betraying our truth.
Yeah.
Who we really are and who we're here to be, what our purpose really is, right? So that's why a lot of, women come to you, they come to me that in this space of, I feel like I'm not truly living. That's betraying yourself. And it comes from, where all different kinds of ways, but I can totally see what you're talking about, that a lot of times it comes from some betrayal story.
Yeah, we live into the betrayal story until we can change our story and see that it's only a part of our lives. And I love that piece of your story where you said, 5 years ago I couldn't have said this, and now I'm in a different place.
Right.
So can you tell us a little more? We're getting towards our time, unfortunately, but tell us a little more about where that place is for you today.
Well, so that, doing that first person who reached out, that has just spread and spread and spread. And eventually I really got intentional in taking this work, this knowing who you are and where you want to be, where you're going, and the energy of all of that, and how do you manage that, and how do you tap into that energy, how do you retrieve the destiny that you want to be in, and intentionally using it. I have a really big part of my work is focused on lawyers, like we said. So I have a company called Mind Over Law, and I teach lawyers all of these different energy practices. I might not call it that, but a lot of times I do. But it's, lots of different things, from meditation to breath work to intentionally how do we unlock our stories and find the things, and looking at things in a different way to be more empowered. I work with their teams and the energy of the people that they work with, and how do they connect, and how they can be more collaborative and more successful in their work together. And at the same time, I still I don't want to limit to lawyers, but I know that's part of my purpose. I'm a 5th generation lawyer. I was really good at what I do. And I know that I was meant to go through what I went through and to study what I've studied to help lawyers. And, a lot of times people think, I didn't realize until I was in law school how negative people think about lawyers.
Well, if you were 5th generation, nobody probably mentioned it.
Right. So, but there are lawyers that are really doing good work in the world and trying to help people and to really right injustices. We need that in our world. And so it's important work supporting those people who are willing to be in the arena and really fighting. And at the same time, I have really drawn, like I said, to create communities. So I have this community for women that's called the Lit on Life Sisterhood, which is where the Lit on Life Journal came from, although I use that with, men too. And it's just an amazing space where I will, I do workshops that are just focused to women and helping them with their stories and their growth. And obviously we've done a lot of things virtually as far as communities in the last year, finally getting back into where we're going to start doing some in-person workshops again and everything. So it's just, it has a big landscape there, and all of it I love.
And I can see that you are lit up, and in what you do, it shows on your face. typically in the show at some point I pull an oracle card, and so it has a message either for you or for I or for somebody who's listening or watching. Are you ready to do that?
Sure. I'd
Okay.
love that.
So I'm just going to shuffle the cards and you tell me when to stop. And we'll see what our message is for the day.
Stop.
Okay. Oh, this is beautiful. Can we zoom in on that one? It's called Wish Upon a Star.
Oh, wow. Love it.
So let me read what Wish Upon a Star has to tell us today. So Wish Upon a Star. I wish I had these memorized, but I don't. So do you believe your dreams can become real? What if the world around you holds the promise? Think of wishing well. You infuse a coin with your intention. You tune into the feeling of having a particular experience, and then you toss or surrender the coin to the well as a symbol of letting go. You walk away and just allow the universe to do its part in a co-creative partnership. And another method that works is wishing upon a star, because we look back to our origins. So today, dream and play with different realities. Know that those beautiful dreams have been nurtured, that you have been nurturing, are in the process of becoming real. Every dream that you believe in and hope for is a twinkling star. No wish is ever wasted.
How beautiful and how fitting. Yeah, look at Sherry's comment.
Yeah, Sherry said I had to leave a job because I loved, because it didn't feed my soul. I left the money and the security to save my soul and keep my light shining. Yeah.
Good for you.
And I want to acknowledge the courage that takes, Sherry.
It's a lot of courage.
So many times we are stuck in life because we are not yet courageous enough to make the changes required. And sometimes that's why connecting with another human being who can help you understand and uncover and discover your inner self and what it is that you have purpose. You know, I don't believe we're ever supposed to do this alone.
Right.
You know?
Yes, well.
Yeah. And the light that we shine, one person shines for another. But I love that wishing upon a star.
Love it.
So today, I hope that was a good message for our listeners and our viewers. It's obviously for somebody specific, and I've got some wishes at the moment that are that I'm going to leave in the stars, setting an intention for somebody very close to me to be okay and to be healthy and to be, calm and in a great place, and I'm just going to release that. And as you mentioned a number of times as you were going through, you have to surrender it.
Yes.
That for me, that's I don't know, we've got a couple of minutes, but for me, surrendering is tough. Did you find that surrender was a difficult?
I did, because I really had no idea where the path was going. And look, when I started following this and started thinking about selling my law practice, and people around me thought I was crazy. What are you doing? And I'm like, and I had to be, that courage of still listening to what I was hearing. But it was really hard because I was always raised, what's your, and I, even in business, we have, what's your 5-year plan? What's your 10-year plan? And if I had stayed on that track of controlling it, I'd still be a lawyer. I'd still be practicing law. I'm not saying I would be unhappy, but I wouldn't be as fulfilled as I am right now. And so I had to be willing to know that it was okay that I didn't know how it was going to look. And I didn't know what it was going to look like, how I was going to make money, how any of it was going to look. Instead, I did just what that card said. I tapped into the energy. I just held on to what I wanted to feel and was surrendered to the universe about how that was going to look like. And because I did that, there was some freedom in that, because I'm a really type A personality that was like very driven in my life. it was nice to be like, I don't have to be in the driver's seat. I just have to be intentional with continuing to be open to that. I'm refusing to settle less than this energy that I know that how I want to feel in my life.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think you've put that so succinctly, so beautifully. And we have a couple of minutes left, and I'm just wondering, is there anything further, any message that you'd like to share with our audience that you haven't had a chance to share with, or an invitation?
I would just say that, if you're listening to this and you're like, Dana, and there was another comment by someone, I don't see it, it might be further up, you're talking about like, you're just unsure. There's this part of you that's like, oh, I wish I felt more excited about what I was doing. Start to sit with that question, and, maybe write. If you could do anything, and if you didn't have the obstacles of money or time, and anything was possible, what would truly feed your soul? And see what comes up. Maybe it's taking a painting class. I mean, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be a huge life change of everything that you're doing. But something that, like, when your feet hit the floor in the morning, that you feel excited about it, that you are lit on what's going to happen today. I often find myself saying, I cannot believe that I get to spend my day doing what I'm doing. And I never thought that I would really, you hear people say that. Is that really true? It is. It is. So, but it takes being willing to not listen to what everyone else is telling you what should be, or what you have always been expected to do. So you stepped into a role, maybe you went to college, you took a job, and everyone expects you to be in that job. Your spouse expects you to do it, and it's expectation. Like, everyone expected me to continue to practice law. And I was really challenged by different people in my life. Like, what are you doing? Like, this is insane. And I remember sitting, and like my sister, when I was studying, the shamanism and everything, and talking about my experience, she just looked at me and she said, how are you going to make money doing this? And I was like, that's not even in my head. But that's an example of a challenge that I had, right? But I was listening to the heart. Everybody else around me is in their heads, right? And I understand that we have to be grounded too. And for a while, I was running 2 businesses. I was starting a new business and running my law practice, and it was not easy. So there's, some things challenges that push you forward with that. But I would just say, if you hear that little whisper that says, there's something more, start to listen to it.
That's
explore it.
Yeah, that is awesome. So awesome. Thanks, Lexlee. And that is Head Heart Synergy, and Lit for Life and that's the combination, both of our businesses. And I want to thank you so much for being here today on The Edge of Fulfillment. And it's been just a delight to have you here, and to hear your story and have you share that.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. And today we've explored some really deep questions. We've played a little bit with the ideas for how to make more meaningful life. And we've enjoyed sharing some precious time as we started to understand what's possible when you shift your perspective, and that sometimes you have to wish upon a star.
Yes.
And sometimes things have to go sideways and have to have a trial by fire in order to come out like the phoenix, come out on the other side. And I want to thank all of you who have commented today and helped provide a day of fresh water to someone who needs it so much in this world. And thank you for helping me to help them. And remember to drop those 5 special words that you heard through the show in the chat. And just a quick reminder, because we haven't said them for a while. So they were mission, greatness, values, vision, and journal. And so drop those 5 words in the chat, or you can email them to me at support@headheartsynergy with the subject line contest, so I don't miss it. And I will count that towards the ballot for that beautiful journal that Lexlee is going to make available. And I said that I would also give you a little gift at the end of the show. And so there's a quiz. If you're not sure what the number one focus that could give you more life satisfaction is, then I offer this little gift, this quiz. And you can take this quiz. Thank you, Rebel. Rebel's our producer today behind the scenes. It's at Lorraine.gives Elements Quiz. So it's right there. And I want to say this is your host, Lorraine LaPointe, Head Heart Synergy, reminding you that the edge of fulfillment, there's a choice. Stay on the edge and always get what you've always got, or become courageous and move beyond and get what you really want. See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye for now.